the new healer of the moment. They come and go, and these healers, they have these abilities.
Yo,
right?
I have to laugh though,
and
because
they fill stadiums.
their pictures are like this, and they're like pushing energy
do the
through
rings,
you. Yeah.
Do the.
Hey everyone, welcome to Metamystic. I'm Riz.
And I'm Mariah, and I'm an intuitive empath.
And I'm a psychic medium, trance channel shaman, and I want to actually start calling myself a locksmith. Because I feel in this crazy, wild profession life, wild psychic ride of life that I share with you, that whether I'm doing a mediumship reading or whether I'm doing a shamanic sacred medicine ceremony or whatever the list of stuff that I do on my website, I still find that I am a locksmith. And that's the simplest way to describe what the purpose is of all of my psychic work. It's to help you unlock something. But what you're unlocking is coming back to your center, right? So it's like a locksmith helps you get back into your house.
Right.
I'm helping you get back into your soul, into your spirit, into your center. Because we lock ourselves out through the chaos, the drama, the pain, the trauma of life that we experience.
We start building fortresses.
Yes. And then we're
protecting ourselves.
Yeah. And we lock it up. There's 20 different locks. Ever see those movies where somebody has 20 locks on their door? And remember in Harry Potter, all those locks and gears that had to switch to get into those vaults? So when we lock ourselves out psychically, what we're doing is we're just kind of giving up and saying, well, I'm just going to wait for this whole thing to be over.
Yeah.
So what is the solution to that? And for me and for us, I think our solution has always been, first, simply put, to have fun and have a sense of humor, right? We can always just say, have a sense of humor, but then list all the stuff, right, that you guys have gone through, that we have gone through, and you go, how do you have a sense of humor about that? How do you have a sense of humor about that? I look to certain things like Buddha, right? The Buddha statue that's laughing. I go, why is he laughing? He must have gotten some cosmic joke. He must have gotten something, some knowledge, some realization.
Definitely.
Right? So I was giving a reading the other day on my retreat to a young woman who had lost her father. And she's 20 and she lost her dad at 13. And she has been waiting to really hear from him. And of course, you want to hear the things you want to hear when you lose a parent. Things that really mean something to you that's very deep and profound. And he was coming through and he was making jokes and talking about really fun things. And she wasn't really used to that because she was expecting to hear something that was going to like really rip her guts out, right? And I think we kind of want that in a mediumship reading. But he came in and was talking about food and activities. And I was explaining to her that the reason our loved ones come through like that is we've suffered enough. We've been through the darkness of the soul, the dark night of the soul so much over their death that they want you to understand the vibration they're in, which is joy.
And they remember all the happy times with you.
Yeah, they want you to feel that because they want you to understand our base note of our relationship is joy, not mourning that my physical body died. So if you can come up to that vibration, then you'll feel my messages more. So that's why we have fun. I mean, I noticed that when I first met you, everything that you had been through, you were telling me and you were like laughing after you told me. But she would say like the heaviest things, from child custody battles to parental alienation to all sorts of things you went through in your life. And then you were saying it and then you would have a joke at the end of it. And I think a lot of people would think that you were, I don't know, you were deflecting or avoiding, but I was intuiting when I first met you all those years ago that this was a woman who had processed everything so profoundly that you were choosing, I call it a psychic happiness. Because a psychic happiness is that you acknowledge that, of course, it was super painful and traumatic, but your psychic knowledge, your wisdom about your soul was that it was part of your past. So you're going to have to either cry about it or laugh about it. Yeah.
By the time I was 37, I had nothing to laugh about and nothing to be happy about in that way. Like I could find small joys in having a good cup of coffee or something, but overall my life experience was not positive. So I felt like there was no way I could have fun.
And you're an 80s kid. We like had fun no matter what. We didn't have any of the technologies that we have today that could really keep you busy, right?
Yeah.
So we had to find our own fun in that sense.
And I had a lot of fun when I was young.
Well, that's how we got this set, right? Because let's talk about this set for a second, because we started the podcast and I was telling people, we're going to start this podcast, Orion and I, way back in October. It's only May right now. And I think people were expecting like very, I don't know, what kind of mood were they? They weren't certainly expecting flowers
so far.
and all our statues and us laughing and us pulling out tea and crumpets and talking about, and on Halloween we're dressing up and then we were Mr. and Mrs. Claus and we're laughing while we're delivering all these really powerful, heavy messages, sometimes about someone who died, sometimes about trauma, sometimes about what am I going to do with my life. And if you guys watch our Psychic Live on Sundays, then you would know that's what we do. So
yeah, I mean, we do very deep, serious spiritual work. We help people at the core level. We go to the deepest source of their pain and we help them to uncover and to heal that. You do that every week in your shamanic journeys with them.
Right.
I used to do that every week alongside you. And it's just an ongoing thing. But at the end of the day, what I've discovered is everyone obviously wants to be happy.
Yeah.
And everyone wants a positive life experience. And everyone wants to enjoy life.
Right, because you don't meditate to meditate more. You meditate to celebrate more. You're meditating so you can celebrate life again. So when we come at our psychic work, it's with joy, it's with fun, it's with kind of like, we're just like how we live. We've always been, I like to say, I'm so reverent for things that I'm irreverent. You know what they say, you got to know the rules before you can break them. So you got to be reverent before you can be irreverent. It's like comedians. I find like sometimes when I watch a comedian, they're talking about marriage and they're talking about your parents and they're talking about traumas and they're funny about it.
Right.
But have you noticed with comedians, because there's a truth inside and you know that they were there, and the reason why you're laughing when they're telling the joke is because you know that they know, but then you turn it around. That's where I feel we come from when we're delivering this work.
Yeah.
Even when we go and do paranormal investigations in houses and there's this, it's pretty scary. It's pretty deep and dark, you might say, but we come in there with joy. We don't match the vibration of the darkness, right?
Right. I mean, the whole point is for us to, first of all, enjoy what we do. Second of all, bring our exuberance and our celebration of life to anything and everything we do, because that's our truth and that's who we are. We're no longer selling out who we used to be, which is you have to be serious. You have to bring spiritual teachings in a very serious way. It has to be very grayscale and straight.
Right, but
and
what is serious,
have costumes, and we can't play. You can't be a kid. You can't have fun. It has to be all looking the same.
Oh, the spiritual music is this. Right, spiritual music is this.
And my God!
Right.
Get it out of here! I'm so bored already. It's not real life because there's 7 billion people on the planet. Each country has all their different cultures. Everyone's different. Everyone has a different way to experience themselves. We're all spiritual beings.
You go to a funeral in Africa, in some parts of Africa, there's dancing and a celebration. The mourning period is very short, and then the celebration and the feast is great after. And that's a cultural difference. You come to India, you don't wear white at a wedding in India. You wear white at a funeral in India. You wear color. You wear, like, see all these flowers?
Yeah.
You dress like that at a wedding in India.
I think the biggest message that we try to convey to everybody is to be yourself. Whatever that is, we try to help you find it. But first you have to uncover and unlock all of the pain, all of the crust, the cement blocks, the fortresses that you hold yourself in to protect yourself. So we try to help unlock and break those open so that you can start to discover who you are. Like for me, this is my celebration of May. So I celebrate how I dress, how I talk, how I do everything. It's for fun. I'm an artist. I don't care. I just like to have a good time. So not everybody wants to do it this way. They want to do it their own way. And that's great. You should do it your own way.
But I
the
think
point is to have fun.
Because you're loose. And it's, like when we say, well, I don't care, it's that we actually care. What we don't care about, number one, is what others think. Number two, about trying to do it perfect and do it right.
Yeah.
That's where I think we all trip up, guys. Isn't it where we trip up? We're constantly trying to get it right, even when it comes to loosening up. Like, let's say you're really tight and you're going into spiritual coaching and getting spiritual teaching because you're trying to relax it back into life with all the stuff that you've been through, and you've been trying so hard and trying to do it right in your life, and now it's time to heal yourself. And then what happens is that when you finally start to heal yourself, you're trying to get now those things right. I got to do it right because the shaman is, or the meditation teacher is looking. Am I holding my fingers right? Yes, they will adjust you to understand how to do something with a technique, right? I mean, but there's about overcompensation.
It becomes, what happens is they think that is the road to spirituality. So yes, oming and connecting and all of it, it's all real. It's all something. It's valid. We try to show you there's different colors of the rainbow. There's different ways to look at and approach all of these different tools, modalities, and things that you practice and learn in your spiritual path to become more sensitive, to become a healer, to become a psychic medium, or even to just be more sensitive in your own life, or even to just heal yourself. There's so many different ways you can do it. That's why, like, Buddha's laughing. So, everyone has the Buddha statue. A lot of people do, but he's laughing.
That's the best-selling Buddha statue, is the one where he's laughing.
So what's that mean? So that means that he's having a good time. He's laughing at the whole thing.
Well, because we psychically are all in tune, where we all do want joy in the end. And I think that your freedom around things, having freedom around how you're learning and discovering the magic of life again, as a psychic medium speaking, when I'm even tuning into the energies that are around a person. Now, what do I mean by the energies? Of course, I mean the people who are passed on. I mean their spirit guides, but I also mean what energy are they using or emanating? Because it's not just the smile on a person's face, because everybody can smile or have a poker face, but there's an underlying energy that's running the show.
And are you living it?
Right. So what we're trying to do, and when I say trying to do,
convey.
Yeah.
The message that we're trying to convey.
I mean, I'm trying to, like, in my life, the trying part is I remind myself, guys. Yeah. I'm reminding myself, take a breath, Riz. Okay, because that's kind of funny. Or I give this teaching.
Do you like how serious we are about fun?
Serious fun. And
look how dropped in and serious we are.
Because it's fun. So important. It's so important to nurture and to feed your inner child. It's so important to stay.
And it's funny. That is step one, the inner child. I've passed that point. Now I just want to be myself.
Well, so
I am merged with my inner child, apparently, because I'm just being myself.
That's it. You merged with her. I'm not looking at
myself as a separation between the adult and the child.
In the beginning, you have to, right? You have to have the conversation because the child is inner. Now, when we say, well, are you letting the child take over? No.
It's about giving yourself permission, don't you think?
Boy, it's hard for people to give themselves permission, isn't it? Because when we're giving ourselves permission, first we're even coming from, wait, I have authority over my own life. Wait, I
can be different.
I have authority over me. Am I battling inside? No, when you give yourself permission, most people think I'm going to give myself permission to have this extra piece of chocolate cake. That's kind of where we end it. And I think what you mean is, when we give ourselves permission, it's knowing that we don't have to be this dictator, military style, make sure you get it right all the time, because where's the spontaneity? And then where's the fun, right? So the fun is, for us, it's about laughing while we're giving messages. So many times, and you and I have been in shamanic sacred medicine journeys where instead of that so-called spiritual music, we'll put some other music on just for a second, like the TV theme song from some cartoon, and a person's crying and suddenly they start laughing because they heard Reading Rainbow, or the Thundercats theme song suddenly playing, or SpongeBob's opening credits. Like, there's other ways to heal other than you just have to play a flute all the time. So the flute is important. Then the other music.
Drum is important.
Exactly. And then the other things are important.
Yeah, they're all important. But it's not the end-all, be-all to your spiritual expression, because you are a human being having a spiritual experience and a spiritual being having a human experience.
And a spiritual being having a spiritual experience.
Exactly. So you're all of that. So your experience is vast. It has no beginning. It has no end. There's no up. There's no down. There's no ends in sight. It is just full encompassment. It's like a full immersive experience.
So how do you do that?
You're just being yourself. So I think you would have to start small. So for me, I remember the very first thing I did was I built an altar. And that's when we first met. Because up until then, I never decorated my house. I was very, very corporate. Everything was white couch, brown coffee table, like wood. And then I had a candle, and then very simple. Everything was just, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have rooms like that in our house, but it was like, I didn't believe in having any extras, or having fun, or little trinkets, or having any statues or anything, even though now like more and more people, but back then, like 20 years ago or so, it wasn't really common. You see like a lot of little things. I had
crystals on my altar, and I had my Hulk Hogan doll. Yes. I had a little Kiss keychain because that was my favorite band growing up, and they made me feel good, and Hulk Hogan was like one of my heroes. And then I would have all these different things along with the crystal, along with a little picture of Yogananda. Everything was equal to everything else. It wasn't that, I'm going to put this as a joke. Yeah, I have a guru here and a crystal, but also I'm going to put in my little Hulk Hogan doll as a joke.
You have to be very vulnerable to do that.
I just had to be truthful.
But vulnerable in the sense that if anybody were to come over and they'd say, hey, Riz, look at your altar. Oh, is that Kiss? Oh, interesting.
Next to Hulk Hogan, next to Yogananda.
So you're a serious teacher, a serious psychic. So what's going on? Are you just being silly?
Yeah. Are you for real?
Yeah.
Like, wait, are you just like me? You can't be. You have to be elevated in some other kind of way.
Why don't you tell everybody how old you're going to be this year?
I'm going to be 55 in August. I'm going to be 55.
Does he look 55 to you?
And I Can't Drive 55, one of my old favorite songs. Okay, so
the reason I bring that up is because this is part of your youth serum, is to allow yourself to breathe and be open and give yourself permission and be vulnerable enough and sensitive enough to give yourself what you want. Give yourself the permissions to like the things, to keep still have the same hobbies, or still have the same things you liked when you were a kid, or even just continuously give to yourself now what you like to experience even at your age now.
It is the ultimate healthcare package. When people were talking about healthcare packages years ago, like, we have to have the best healthcare package. Yes, I get it. But then there's another health package called your anti-aging package, which is completely being at one with, I actually like to say, your inner kid now instead of inner child, because I think the word child
gives us
be childish.
More serious conversation. Yeah.
Exactly. Now you're becoming serious again. Yeah. Because a child usually throws tantrums, and the kid is there to kid around and have fun. So I like to have myself as a man, as a human, as a soul, but also as a kid, wrapped up in one where all of these parts of me are so synergistic that they're not separate anymore.
Right.
My entire being is that. Right.
I think honestly, and I'm not trying to give you a compliment right now, I'm just actually giving you my truthful observation of you. Being a Taurus, I have no chill in this area. So I just feel that you encompass what the new man, the new future man, is going to look like in the sense of internally experience, in your experience of life, not physically so much, but internally. And here's what I mean is that in person, you're 6'3" and very intimidating, actually. You carry yourself, people stop you and ask you if you're a wrestler.
Right.
They ask you what band you're in. They ask you if you're in football.
Right.
They ask you all these questions all the time.
Right.
And you come across really intimidating. I wouldn't mess with you. I don't think any guy would mess with you. And you're like a steel rod. And then the second you start talking and the second you start involving yourself in people's lives, the most softest, most gentle, most polite, most delicate human being is speaking. And then there's women, older women, that are scared of men like Riz. They're literally just like more comfortable talking to you about their most deepest like pain than I have ever seen. Now, what I think is going to happen is men are going to give themselves permission as time goes on. I think men are going to give themselves permission to become more in their masculine to enjoy their masculinity, but balance with their femininity.
That's right, because
the
what
ones
we're
that are
seeing
really feminine now that feel like they have no power, they can allow themselves to amp up the masculinity, but keep their femininity. So their feminine and masculine energies, their yin yang energies.
The yin yang. Let's talk about that, right? The yin and yang, because nowadays, especially when we say masculine or feminine, it goes into these ideas of what people are talking about socially in social kind of politics right now. And so if we use the words yin and yang, it's the balance of the yin energy, receptive, intuitive, nurturing. Vulnerable. Then there's the yang, which people call the masculine, but we're going to call it the yang, which is the protective, the analytical, the builder, and the activator, right? So we all have to be all of those to be in balance, just like nature. Nature has everything in balance. You have the mountain and you have the dandelion, correct? You have the volcano and then you have the snow. All of this is
men
one.
Are scared to be in their masculine because they'll be misunderstood.
If men are scared to be...
And if they're completely in their feminine, they'll be misunderstood.
If men are more afraid to be in their yin, so-called feminine, they're more afraid to be in their yin. It's because throughout time they think that if you dress a certain way, or you wear certain even colors, or you wear eyeliner, like I'll wear this black kohl in my eyes, right?
Which is actually very cultural and traditional for Indian people.
Because if you look at pictures of me when I was 4 years old,
for those of you who are unaware,
educational time. Someone once wrote on one of my pictures, the comment generation. Someone wrote, "Dude, the makeup doesn't work. The eye makeup, dude, ditch the eye makeup." Then I wrote back, well, thanks for that little racist comment, because actually this is called kohl, and it comes from northern India, the particular descendants or tribe that I came from, and the Mongolian tribe that I came from, that always wore this. And by the way, when I was a baby, this was in my eyes. Now, I wore it because after a while, growing up, I loved it because it was just me.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it as makeup. And even if it was, who cares? It doesn't matter if I have flowers in my hair or I have a full mouth of lipstick. It doesn't matter, right? The point is that we're coming to a place where I turn on the internet and I'm watching these what I would call hyper masculine with no femininity in them, because they're responding to who they think are very feminine, effeminate men. And what we're not getting the blend. Now, these guys are coming on like totally like, usually they're base their masculinity on if they can kick somebody's ass,
right?
How much they work out or how much they can lift. And you're seeing all these guys on the internet.
Right.
And I understand.
They call it toxic masculinity, but honestly, I don't want to.
Let's not get into that. Let's stay into the blend, right? Because I'm not making them wrong. I'm just saying that's one aspect, okay? But where's the softness? Where's the flow?
Right.
And what we're seeing now is that because everybody's getting into understanding themselves as a soul, as energy, that everything is energy, you cannot understand energy unless you understand yin and yang.
You want to hear something really wild?
Yeah.
I feel that women are way too hyped up on their masculinity. All of us women. And men need to be more in their feminine. So we actually need to do a little role reversal.
And it's the opposite,
here.
Right? People are saying,
because us women, we're ball busters. We're super hardcore. We don't let anybody get away with anything. We're super in your face, super, super, super masculine. Every woman I know, every woman I've ever met, every woman I've ever seen, grown up with, I have met maybe one or two feminine women that are genuinely gentle and feminine all the way through in their yin. But they don't have a lot of masculinity. It's very hard to find one that's balanced. So the thing is, when you see women, a lot of men in the dating scene, they're really scared of women, and they're really scared of what happens in the dating, especially because women are hardcore and they're super, and I know there's a backlash because women are saying, well, it's our turn, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. I get it. But there has to come a point that we get to a point where there's like a truce.
Well, you know what?
We have to have a truce, and women need to start becoming more in their feminine so that men are not so scared, and then men can go more into their feminine so women don't feel so scared, so we can stop being so scared of each other.
Well, I'm sure, anytime, especially now, and I'm listening to you, it's so interesting. I observe myself as I'm listening to you. because I'm so used to comment culture and I'm so used to everybody having an opinion and wants to then say, that's not true, and this is this, and I've known plenty of them, and that's just going to be your thing, and that's just because you're that way. And they'd be right.
Absolutely.
You'd be right. And whatever I say and then you contradicted, you might be right also. And so I'm going to preface this, even though it's too late to preface the conversation, that everybody's got their opinion. And for one fact, somebody's going to offer you a contradicting fact to say it's the opposite, right? That's what contradicting fact is. So what I want to say is, as we're just free-flowing in this discussion, because we're life, this big psychic reality of unimaginable, and it's impossible to know it all, what this even is. I always approach my psychic work as, I don't know. I just work here. The messages come through and I'm going to give them to you. You can take them. Hopefully you can get something for yourself. If you don't, you don't. And we'll just keep moving forward. We'll keep expanding, because how can anyone know the totality of existence? We're just navigating here with this internal psychic GPS that we call our heart, which goes through all of its traumas and all of its pain and all of its triumphs. And still, we almost still don't know what it is. Do we? In the end, do we know what anything is? All we know is whether we feel good or we don't. Right.
I'd like that we're free-flowing. And if you don't mind, I'd like to bring up a topic that's not related to what we've just been talking about. So there's people who feel that if they want to be healed by a healer, they have to find somebody who's a really good healer who can heal them. That's the way I've heard them say it.
Yes.
I need to be healed. Let me go find a healer that can heal me. So they look for a healer that has these special abilities that can move energy, clear energy, send energy, move things, and they will absolutely find them.
Yeah.
And they exist. However, they also don't realize that they are meeting the healer halfway. They're bringing 50% of them by being a yes and being open and being receiving, and their whole brain chemistry, everything starts clicking on to receive, quote unquote, a higher vibrational experience. So you're already raising your vibration to meet the healer. The healer then brings their modality and meets you halfway. So I see these healers that come and go over the years, because we've been doing this so long, for almost, over 20 years, and me 15 years. And we see all these, like the new healer of the moment. They come and go, and these healers, they have these abilities.
Right? I have to laugh though,
and
because
they fill stadiums.
Their pictures are like this, and they're like pushing energy through
rings.
You. Yeah.
Do the rings? I want to hear the rings. Do.
I actually like that guy.
The rings.
I like him. He he does this thing. He's this very soft guy.
I wish you had rings on the other hand.
Well, you could like do it. Okay, shh. So he does this healing where he looks at you and he's sending you Reiki, and then you hear his rings and like the little scraping of his rings.
And look at everybody
sweet.
In the camera with those eyes. You have intense eyes. Now do the fingers slower, because you're really drawing them in and you're really giving them energy.
But I have to play that music in the background.
Okay.
Now look,
so
I'm not making.
Here's what I'm trying to do. Here's what I'm trying to do. It's not that I'm making fun. What I'm trying to do is, you guys know, anybody who follows us understands we like to break things down.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to explain is a little educational moment, that when you go to a healer, you're going to get information. The goal for you is to get information so you can learn how to heal yourself. Okay? That's the goal. That just makes sense.
What if it's just energy? They don't say anything. How do they get information?
That's fine. Okay, well, in that case, that's the agreement. But here's the thing. If you're going to keep seeing a healer for 100 years, that's fine. But the thing is, if you can learn what the healer is doing, if a good healer and a good teacher is going to guide you, teach you, and show you how to make your own meal. They're going to teach you how to heal yourself. They're going to teach you how to move energy. They're going to teach you how to raise your vibration. They're going to show you the inner workings of the way the body works, and the inner dialogue that you have, and the way your mind processes information, and blah, 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 blah. You're going to get all that information. But if a healer is just getting everybody hyped up in the grand scheme of the healing energy, you can enjoy it and have a great time, but just know in 2 or 3 days, it's gone.
Right.
And where did it go? You got to go back to the healer to get more. And then this becomes you again going to another person's watering hole. We always teach. It's the hardest way to be on the front lines, what Riz and I do, because we're here and we give away and teach and show you exactly how you can take care of yourself better, how you can heal yourself, how you can raise your vibration.
Right.
We show you real world examples. We're really, really, really living it. And so it's not the popular way. You know why? Because not everybody wants to learn how to do it. It's easy to go to somebody. You go to the ice cream truck and they just give you ice cream.
You go
and
to the hair salon.
You go to the hair salon. It's just fast and easy. And I got the feeling and my vibration went up and I felt so good and everything. Okay, 2 days later, you're back to where you started. And then you have to go back and go back and go back. But you don't know what's happening. You don't even know how you got there.
Even as a sacred medicine practitioner, I've had people who have gone down to South America, done 10 ayahuasca journeys, and they come back and they're like, I've done 10 ayahuasca journeys. Why should I do this mushroom journey? And I'll say, well, do you want me to talk really openly and honest with you? Or do you want me to just skim the surface? And they go, oh, no, always talk openly and honest with me. I go, I'm glad that you did all that work, and I will never, ever tell you you shouldn't have done it. I think that it was important. Every step leads you to the next one. But what I want you to know is that what I want to teach you is how to lead yourself eventually. Mm-hmm. And that is your divine sacred right. It's in my belief system that I like it so that you know how to do it. And isn't that what school does? Doesn't first grade prepare you for something? And then when you graduate high school, they go, we've given you the tools. Yeah. Now go out there and use those tools.
If you're new to spirituality.
And learn as you're using those tools. Mm-hmm. What I want to teach people is how to listen psychically with not only their third eye, their third ear, see with your third eye, listen with your third ear. And for you to develop that, because when you start to become a very good student is one who takes what they learned and uses that as a formula to come up with the next conclusion that they are downloading. Mm-hmm. And that is how we've created everything. That is how nature works, how sometimes new species are born, and plants and animals mingling. All of this is the same principle. So are we going to just stagnate, right, by going, you teach me, you do it for me?
I think it's like almost a spiritual fad when people become more enlightened, or they want to experience more of this unusual experience of being spiritual on the outside over here with us people. Some people are spiritual on the inside, but they don't show it. But then eventually they come out to the world and they want to play drums and they want to dance in dance circles and they want to do all this stuff. So then you bring yourself out. Okay. Sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of it's like a fad that comes and goes. There's like waves that comes and goes.
There are waves
of different fads that comes and goes. And I'm always really fascinated. The only reason I have this little edge that you guys feel is because we take healing work so seriously that it's like, I always say to myself, if you leave better than when you arrived, we've done our job. Mm-hmm. So if you know more in some way, shape, or form.
Right. Define better, because you can leave a shamanic journey, a medicine journey with me, and you're exhausted. You're not in a great mood.
Right.
Okay. But you also are not in a great mood after you come out of a surgery. Mm-hmm. But the surgery was good for you. Right. Work was being done. Right. We're not here to have a good time. Mm-hmm. We are here to have a powerful time. Mm-hmm. It's a big difference. So if feeling good is your thing, sure, go to those energy healers that rent out theaters and wave their hands like this and tap into that thing. And that's just a business for them. Right. Not knocking having a business, but just let's get real.
Well, because they'll be gone in a few years.
It's like McDonald's French fries, right? It tastes good while it's going in, but
exactly.
Not so good going out. Yeah. Okay. And that's because
I think everyone's looking for a savior. I think everyone's looking at the Jesus complex. They're all looking for the thing that's going to solve and fix and like poof, the magic dragon. It's like, you are fixed.
But they're not going to do, and you guys know this because those of you who have done the real work on yourselves, and you know how gut-wrenching it is and how you've had to really change your belief systems, those you guys know. But most people are not like that. They just want a little caressing, some words of wisdom, and then they move on to the next person that is going to kind of tell them what they want. But as soon as you get a teacher, and I believe that a real teacher should unnerve you a bit, unnerve you a little bit while you're drawn to them. But I don't mean make you scared of them. I don't mean this in negative. Unnerve you means, look, when I was learning how to play the guitar or learning how to sing when I was younger, I was unnerved by the voice of this person who was filling the room.
All the teachers I loved in high school, my favorite teachers were the ones that unnerved me.
Right, they looked at you like this, like they went in on you, right?
Out. It was the ones who called me out, or the ones who saw my gifts, but also were super hard on me. And those are the ones that left the biggest impressions on me, and was like, they shaped who I am today.
I had a teacher who used to say, Riz, he said this in front of the entire class. He goes, I just want everyone to know Riz is an outstanding student. Outstanding in the hall. Because I wouldn't go into the class, and he would walk by me sometimes.
But why wouldn't you go in the class?
Because I was just bad. I just wanted to...
You never told me that story.
He said, yeah. He goes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You saved that one.
He made so many my art teacher, who thought I was a good artist, he would still make jokes and poke at me. You know? And he'd be like, Riz is really strong, but smell isn't everything.
How did you find out that he was talking about you?
He was saying it in front of the class.
You heard him.
He made sure he said it in front of the class.
Oh my God.
One time, one of my other teachers, and he was real hippie, and he walked over while we're all doing our work, and he walks over and he says to the entire class, he goes, when Riz is done masturbating over here, maybe he can tell you how, he can ask you how to do this work. And
what?
You're 15, and for someone to say the word masturbate.
Oh.
In the 80s? Oh, forget it. I was mortified. I just put my head down, and he was like this, I forget what his last name was, like Mr. McElroy or something. I can't remember. But he was this hippie, like a real hippie from the 60s. And he would be ready to throw down with you outside the classroom. Anytime you want to get in his face, he's like, do you want to handle this in here or outside in the hall with me? And let me tell you, he wasn't kidding.
Well, this is New York.
Yes, this is New York in the 80s. This is what teachers were like. There were no cell phones. The cops were not going to side with the student. It wasn't ever going to go like that. In fact, the students were never going to side with you. Nowadays, students are popping shit with their teachers all the time and then filming it, and everybody's online is, siding with the students. Not in my school. So Mr. Murphy, that was his name, Mr. Murphy. I call him Mr. McElroy. I'm sure he's crossed over by now. Or maybe not. He's the kind of guy that would fight the devil. So my teachers did that to me.
Oh my God.
And let me tell you, they made me self-aware.
Wow.
Along with also, of course, at times being nice to me.
Right.
But you need a little bit of edge for someone to call you out on stuff.
I know. I think by the time people come to us, they're really ready to actually tackle themselves and really get in there. Even if it's...
And allow themselves to be tackled.
Yeah, even if it's in a positive way. Even if it's just to find out what their gifts are and to be able to have somebody be... like we hold them accountable and to help them to master their gifts, to bring their gifts to the world, like becoming the true artist or painter or musician or writer. And we're like a little hard on you guys, but at the same time, you end up producing beautiful, beautiful works of art. We've seen our clients find out these incredible talents that they have. And they bring it back to us, and we'll have to do a show and tell one day. I don't know. There's paintings and blankets and things.
People wrote books and movies.
Yeah,
and
they didn't know they had it in them.
Yeah, but I want to say this as well for you guys, because there's sometimes you'll watch. Maybe you'll watch our show to go, I just want to know how to connect to my spirit guides. Mm-hmm. Not all this really heavy shamanic transformational stuff.
There's a reason why you want that.
That's right. There's a reason why you want to connect to your spirit guides. And let me tell you something. Mm-hmm. Your spirit guides are not going to take it easy on you. They don't.
Oh, yeah. They make us look like...
Red Eagle gives messages to all of you guys and to you.
Stuffed animals.
Right.
Comparison.
Red Eagle is my guide. And let me tell you something. When he gives messages to me, he's not giving me these wonderful 20, 30-minute stuff that you guys see on YouTube. He is like, he goes, no, or he goes, do whatever you want, or you think so? And I'm like, those are the responses. I'll ask Red Eagle a question, and he'll be like, really, you think so? And I'm like, And they don't say any more. Oh, so I have to now think on this. My guides are a little nicer to me. So my guides act that way, just like my high school teachers. Yeah. Maybe it is one of my high school teachers who died and said, I'm going to be Riz's spirit guide. That would make sense. If nobody
can get through to you,
that would make sense,
Riz
Mr. Murphy.
Will get through to you, because if he gets it. I always tell people that. I'm the back of the class kid that made it. And so because I made it, I could teach you how to make it if you're a back of the class kid. So I feel that I've experienced all the dark alleys and been through everything. So I feel like, I don't know, somehow I'm on the other side. Not somehow, I know exactly how I got here, but I'm on the other side. And so now there's rainbows and unicorns, and I'm having a great time. But let me tell you, I have war scars, and I'm a veteran of wars. And so I come in and I teach how to be fun and loving and exciting and have fun and be real. But it comes with real life experience to teach you how to do it, because I'm not trying to sell you on something that's fake. This is like,
what do they say? Religion.
Do you want to enjoy? Yeah. You want to enjoy this color? Do you want to take it in? Do you want to feel this color?
Cheers.
Pink? We've never cheered candles before. Or do you just want to have just an item because it's just there because it's the cool thing to do? Like everything in my house, everything I get, everything has a reason, a purpose. There's an interest. There's something in it for me, and it's just because I'm connected to everything I'm doing. But anyway, so this is just kind of an overview. Well, I think this was a fun episode, though. We're just talking about everything. We're throwing everything at the wall.
We just like to drop in with you guys and just share what's on our mind, because these are conversations that are going to be ongoing throughout us having fun with our Paranormal React series or our live readings on Sundays. I want you guys to know where we're coming from. If you probably already got it, but these discussions are important to have in your own life, because if you want to connect to your spirit guides, if you want to open up psychically, if you'd like to receive messages from your loved ones on the other side, there is one key technique for all of that, and that is to loosen up, to lighten up, and to surrender. Period. To surrender. What are you surrendering to? You're surrendering to receiving and not reaching out. Especially when I do readings, I'm not reaching out to get a message from my guides or reaching out. What I'm doing is I'm opening up. I'm not really reaching out. I'm opening up and allowing myself to feel even the most subtle vibrations.
The reason I keep saying vulnerability is because you need to be very vulnerable, not afraid to be vulnerable.
Right.
To do that.
And that's where now, to not be afraid to be vulnerable is where the transformational work comes in.
The new man comes in, because look, you're masculine.
Right.
But you are vulnerable.
I'm open and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because I just have found it's smarter to be that way for my own health. Specifically for my own physical health and well-being.
But do you feel like you first have to heal your traumas to do that?
I think so. I think you have to handle on your traumas. I think that because I'm careful. Yeah, I'll say the word heal. Sometimes I'm careful about using the word I healed my traumas, because that's when your traumas come back and go, you forgot about this part right here. Remember me? Right? Stabs you back again. No, I do think that I have healed my biggest traumas, and healing those traumas, what it has done for me has given me the technique to, when a troubling thought from the past, present, or future pops up, that technique just kicks into gear. I understand how to do it. Right? So that's what and that's a sense of balance, I think. And humor. Throughout everything, you'll find that you'll end up laughing. Well, that is going to save
your life, actually. Humor is going to save your life.
Humor has saved my life.
Humor is actually the most serious thing that you can do for yourself medicinally.
Oh, mic drop. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Humor is the most serious thing you can do
for yourself.
And then you say medicinally. Laughter is the best medicine, right? Got it. Right, you're right. Because all that energy flows through you. You can go from grief, which can debilitate your body, guys. You can come down with all sorts of conditions because of grief.
Yeah.
But what's the opposite? Is laughter.
Yeah, because the cortisol level goes up, the immune system gets inflamed, and then you're vulnerable.
Scientific reasons for understanding the spiritual truth. We could really go into the scientific reasons
of the serotonin and the cortisol levels, but you guys can go to other channels for that to understand.
You're dropping it right here. There are scientific medical benefits to actually flooding and being in your joy and your peace and in your humor.
Right.
So that's what today was about. Tonight was about, guys. Leave your comments and tell us some of the things, how you turned pain into peace, then into joy, then into humor. How did you do that? Or give us some of those examples, and we're happy to be here and dive in deeper with you guys.
And remember, everybody, keep it real. Stay open to learning. Never give up. And always know there's more.
Peace.